G'day everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. So this is the first video on the channel for 2022. Just want to say, hopefully all of you have had a fantastic New Year's and yeah, ready to get back into it. And in today's video, I've decided to do a New Year's theme. I'm going to be talking about every AFL club's New Year's resolution, or in other words, every AFL club's pretty much seasonal goal. Now, of course, every AFL team's goal is to win the flag, but in today's video, I've just made each AFL team's New Year's resolutions, achievable goals that can be hit in 2022, or I believe can be hit. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. And yeah, let's get straight into it. Kicking it off with the Adelaide Crows, and for their New Year's resolution, I have gone for them to be out of the bottom four for the next season. It just seems after that 2017 grand final, it has just been a downward spiral for the Adelaide Crows in terms of ladder positions, and now since Matthew Nicks has made a massive re-signing deal, I think of 4 years, a little while ago, this is now a message that this is the guy that's going to lead the Crows into hopefully a solid rebuild. Last 2 seasons for the Crows have just been very slow and sluggish, and I feel like, yeah, the Crows do have a few exciting players on their list, so their goal is just to continue to develop those young players that they have. Players like 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐵, Butts, Ben Keys, 𝘦ci𝗰𝐿𝐼𝐿𝐴, Tom Doedee. They're all quality players that I reckon can really contribute to the club. And not to mention Robbie 𝐓𝐿𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐵 entering his 2nd year now. He could really lift up, and I can really see him becoming an absolute superstar key forward. So it is possible for the Crows to get out of the bottom 4. But let's hope they can, just have a good, solid, consistent year, because now we know that Nicks is the man to lead the Crows on for the next 4 years. So for the Crows, I have gone for them to be out of the bottom 4 next year. Now for the Brisbane Lions, and I've gone for a pretty tough New Year's resolution, but it's got to be a one that's possibly achievable, and it is to make the grand final. They have been so close to reaching that glorious last day of September, but year after year they just keep on falling short. They've got such a quality playing list, the fans absolutely adore him. It just seems, they are so consistent most of the time throughout the home away season, and for them to go out in straight sets last year was just a disaster. So I've gone for a pretty tough and tricky one for them to make the grand final. I think it's possible. A lot of people have realised this team and have decided, thought as well, I reckon they will win the grand final. But yeah, they just have a bunch of players on their side that just keeps on getting better. You have Cam Rayner coming back from a knee injury, and he could have an absolutely lift-off season. So it will be interesting to see how they go. I'm bound to be sure they will make the top 4. And for their New Year's resolution, I've gone for them to make the grand final. You never know. Now for Carlton, and for them, quite obvious, I've got them to make finals. It has been since 2013. They're yet to make finals since then, and every year it's just the same thing. We start to rate them, hey, they got to make finals this year, they got to make finals next year, they got to make finals this year. Like, it just never seems to happen, but it's an expectation for a number of years now that the Carlton board are like, we expect to make finals football, and obviously therefore that should be their New Year's resolution. I don't know, I'm still on the fence that they could make finals or not. I just can't really see it that much that they can make finals, but hopefully they do prove me wrong. And they've got a few nice acquisitions as well of �絵and 𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐵. I think those are pretty big as well. 𝘦ci 𝗰𝗶𝗹, I reckon, will be a really solid player for the Carlton, because they are lacking that now creative, energetic, half-forward kind of player. And finals football for Carlton are definitely on the cards, of course. But I think it will be a very difficult campaign for a very tough and physical campaign for Carlton next year. So pretty reasonable, but pretty difficult at the same time New Year's resolution for Carlton, and that is to make finals. Now for Collingwood, another team that is on the rebuild. And speaking of rebuild, I actually had a little think, and I reckon their New Year's resolution is to develop a true star key forward. Doesn't have to be, one of the best in the AFL, but just really good for the club. It just seems to be that Collingwood are really lacking that key forward player. You have Jordan De Goey with his issues off the field, that he will possibly not be playing for the Pies next year, even at all, or he won't be up to form if he does continue to play for them. They had a pretty good draft, Collingwood, but they didn't really seem to pick up any true key forwards. Players like Draper, Nick Dacos, Charlie Dean, all look like promising players, but they don't contribute to that key forward position. They do have, Ollie Henry, but I don't know if I'd really class him as a key forward. And I don't really think Darcy Cameron is the key forward for the future either for the Pies. So I feel that they really want to, just develop that key forward alongside, possibly making out of the bottom four. It is possible as well. Unless, apart from developing a key forward, I also think consistency is important too with the new coach of Craig McRae. So there is Collingwood's New Year's resolution. Now for Essendon's New Year's resolution, and I think it is a quite obvious one, it's for them to finally win a finals game. It just seems to be a curse almost. They just cannot seem to win that finals game. They had an excellent second half of the season last year, made it to finals, but unfortunately, they just did not produce a good performance. I mean, yes, it was against the Western Bulldogs, one of the best teams in 2021, but it just still seems to be a bit of a curse. They just cannot find a way to win a finals game. I guess you can say they are on the up. They are going to be one of those teams that will be on the verge of making finals again. And they are definitely within a chance. If they do make the finals, they just have to win it. And I think for them to win it, it will require a number of wins in a row in the last few games of the season, which will definitely boost morale, boost confidence, boost support by the fans. It's a huge New Year's resolution, but I think it has to be done. And their playing list also very impressive as well. So for them, winning a finals game is a definite New Year's resolution. Now for Fremantle's New Year's resolution, and I've gone for a bit of a unique one, and I've gone for silencing the haters. Why I say that is because we all know of the plan that they did release around a month ago now. A very ambitious plan it truly was. They're expecting an AFL and an AFLW premiership by 2025, minimum of 3 top 4 finishes for both AFL and AFLW teams, reaching 80,000 members, averaging 50,000 fans. But those first two, very ambitious plans, and it might not be a complete possibility next season, but they've got to really just prove the doubters wrong. We obviously know Richmond's plan in 2010 that they wanted to win, I think it was 3 flags by 2020 or something over the next 10 years. It's definitely possible, and I feel like Fremantle have made a terrific start. They've had an excellent off-season, possibly the best off-season out of any AFL club, and for them it's just to play really intimidating solid footy next year and really prove those doubters wrong that, hey, it could possibly be on the cards, because a plan's a plan, and they really do want to hit it. So for Fremantle, just to silence the haters, and Now moving on to the Geelong Cats, and for their New Year's resolution, I've gone for them to produce a strong finals campaign and develop their youth. 2 important ones there. They always have an excellent home and away season. We never know. That might not be the possibility next year, because people have the thoughts of them being a hangover team and them not even making finals, which is definitely possible. But at the same time, it's still Geelong. They have an excellent home and away campaign, and if they were to make finals, which I feel like they are capable obviously of doing, they really need to keep that consistency up in finals, because they just seem to crash and burn, as we saw last year. And also another important one, most definitely, is develop the youth. They are the oldest team by average in the AFL. I do rate their pickups, picking up a few local boys like arguably one of the best ruckmen in the country, Toby Conway, Mitch Nevitt as well. And they just really got to start putting faith in their youth and developing them as soon as possible before it is too late. So 2 important ones there, and there are my New Year's resolutions for the Cats. Now for the Gold Coast Suns, and this is an area where they always just fail, and each and every year. And I feel like this is the year now they really got to tick these boxes, and I've gone for to maintain consistency and finish the season strong. They just cannot do this every year. It's just a repeat each and every year. They always seem to win a few nice games, and then they just crash and burn for a number of consecutive games. And their last 5 rounds were just piss poor for the Suns. And I've seen a few people putting them for finals, and I'm like, oh, that's probably a bridge too far. But the first thing they've really got to get down pat is just to maintain consistency. Get a few nice wins in a row on the board, and make sure everyone's healthy and fit. And a really important one: finish the season strong. They just seem to be at times not a really well-run club, but with the acquisition of a few nice new players they've added in the off-season, I feel like that is a step done for them to produce more consistency next season. So for the Suns, maintain consistency and finishing the season strong is an absolute must. Now for GWS's New Year's resolution, and for them I reckon they need to produce a stronger home and away season. I've said this a number of times before, I reckon they have such an underrating playing list. Since they are a non-Victorian side, they have players that really go under the radar that the media and fans don't really, rate heaps compared to a Victorian player who plays in a Victorian club. Players like Collingwood, Cumming, Tim Taranto, Jacob Hopper, 𝐓𝐿𝐼 𝐴𝐿𝐼, Perryman, Whitfield, Toby Green, Tom Green, Sam Taylor, Nick Haynes, and now the inclusion of 𝐼𝐼𝐿𝐼 and Finn Callaghan. And the list just goes on. I feel those are, if they can bond together nicely, that is a top 4 worthy team. I know that sounds a bit far-fetched, but hey, they made a grand final in 2019 with a similar playing list, and they just really have an underrated playing list full of stars. And this moves me on to my point of them producing a stronger home and away season. They just seem to be kind of inconsistent last year. They produced really poor performances time to time, and then they produced great wins, and they finished the season strong. That was really important. That's how they made finals and won a finals game. But as I just said, if they can bond together well and produce consistency, they can really have a strong home and away season. And I reckon, I actually had them in my early predictions to make the top 4. I reckon it can be possible, and producing a strong home and away season is my resolution for the Giants. Now moving on to Hawthorn, and another team that will probably be seeing the bottom 2 next year. Heck, they could maybe prove them wrong and finish a bit higher, but brand new coach after Clarko's long time at the Hawks. It is possibly just going to be a very slow season for the Hawks, but I feel like, the fans have got to show a bit of patience, and for my New Year's resolution for the Hawks, I've got them to just show a promising start to a rebuild. With the brand new coach of Sam Mitchell, things could, be very slow and sluggish, but they just got to really develop the youth and develop their stars. And it's just important that they try and find consistency throughout the season, developing as much youth as possible, developing the craft, physical size, all that kind of stuff. And just to do anything they can to show a promising start to a hopefully successful rebuild with the brand new coach of Sam Mitchell. So it could be a bit of a slow year for the Hawks, and I've got them to show a promising start to a rebuild. Now for the Melbourne Demons, the premiers of 2021, and simply their New Year's resolution is to continue what they're doing, keep it up. I still think they've got plenty left in the tank. I reckon they could maybe go back to back. Their playing list is just brilliant. A few years ago we were saying, their playing list is very good, but they were just lacking that chemistry, and they really put it on display in 2021. And simply they just got to keep it up. Clayton Oliver, Petrarca, gone. All superstars: Stephen May, Jake Lever, Neil Bullen. All superstars in the team, plus many more that I reckon could even play even better next year. And for the Demons, I reckon it's going to be a New Year's resolution that will be easily hit. Or maybe not easily, but I reckon it will most likely be hit. And for them, it's just to continue to be that dominant, intimidating football side. Now for North Melbourne, and for them, I've gone for quite possible goals. And for them, I've got them to get out of the bottom 2 and keep playing the youth. I feel like the bottom 2 should not be an area they should finish in next year. I know a few people I've seen have them as wooden spooners, but when we really think about it, when the question arises of what team has the best youth, a lot of people do say North Melbourne, and because of that, I'm like, well, they have a few players now that are reaching that 22, 23, 24-year-old range. That's usually a breakout year, like Taryn Thomas, for example. I reckon there's a number of players in that team that could really play good footy next year, and since the expectations are really low for North Melbourne, they could easily go under the radar and make it out of the bottom 2, and I think they'll do just that. playing the youth for the Kangaroos is also a critical asset that they really need to do.
David Noble
is a coach that I think is a very, very, very underrated coach. He also says that he is going to put his faith and keep on playing the youth. So it is, yeah, obviously it will still be, a non-fully successful year for the Kangaroos most likely, but yeah, it's really possible to see him blossom into a very exciting young side, and for them to make out of the bottom two and keep on playing the youth, those are very possible New Year's resolutions. Moving on now to the Port Adelaide Power, and for my New Year's resolution, I've gone for the exact same as the Lions: make a grand final. Because of this, I'm not going to be saying, Brisbane and Port Adelaide therefore will make a grand final. No, not every team achieves, their goals that I have put, today in this video. But after Port Adelaide's, very strong home and away season and looking really strong finals campaign, they just went piss poor in the preliminary final. And the exact same thing as the Lions, they're going to have fire in the bellies, man. They are a very, very excellent side. Always seem to do very well in the home and away season. They just, get wins left, right and centre. I know they don't play that great against top 8 teams, but hey, they still get the job done to make finals. And I still think they have got plenty left in the tank, Port. They've got an excellent youth. Zach Butters, Burn Jones, Will Drew, Bergman, Todd Marshall, Connor Rozee, Geordie Arties, many more players, all under that 24-year-old age bracket that will definitely contribute to the side over the next coming years. It's definitely possible to see the Power make a grand final. And people always put them in that, top 2, top 4 area and always have them making the prelim final. But it's just that one last game they really got to push to make the last day in September. So yeah, for Port Adelaide, I have gone for their New Year's resolution to make a grand final. Now for the Richmond Tigers, and after a lackluster season, the number one reason why I feel they had that lackluster season was just injuries. One of the main reasons why was injuries. And yeah, for my New Year's resolution, I've got for them to keep healthy and injury-free as much as possible, and also to develop the youth. Noah Bolter, Vlosten, Hooley, Broad, Dusty Martin, Edwards, Lambert, Prestia, a number of those, really quality premiership side players were injured, missed games, and because of that exposed a lot of youngsters, and they just could not seem to get wins on the board. However, if they do keep injury-free and keep healthy, with those players on the side, they can really play some good football. Alongside that, they had an excellent draft as well, picking up a few quality players such as 𝐓𝐿𝐴 and 𝐷𝐶𝐿𝐵. If they keep healthy and injury-free and develop the youth as much as possible now, since 𝐓𝐿𝐴 and 𝐴𝐵 have retired and also 𝐼𝐿𝐴 is starting to see the end of his career, the Tigers can really be on the up if those two New Year's resolutions are achieved. Now for St Kilda, and I've gone for, pretty much the same as the Gold Coast, to maintain consistency and finish the season strong. Now, I'm not putting them both in the same bracket. I feel, of course, St Kilda are a far better side than the Suns. And I'm not saying it in a way that finish the season strong, meaning, just finish it strong and we'll make finals, next year. No, I still think St Kilda are a definite chance of making finals, but they have to really finish that season strong if they want to see out finals. But yeah, I just feel that St Kilda were another one of those teams that were very inconsistent last year. Brett Ratten was also complaining about that throughout 2021, that they really need to find consistency. They produce excellent wins and poor losses, and I feel like those cobwebs all need to be brushed off, and they really need to find, just some consistent football. And if they do want to see finals footy, they have got to finish that season strong. So St Kilda, don't write them off. I think they can go under the radar. A lot of people, including myself, have got them as a mid-table side, but you never know. If they do find that C word called consistency, they could potentially make September football. So for St Kilda, maintain consistency and finish the season strong are my New Year's resolutions for their side. Now for the Sydney Swans, obviously a team that went under the radar last year and produced a strong 2021, making finals, pretty much a top 4 side, however losing their finals game. But for them, I have gone for their young guns to keep on getting better. You see, I feel like the Swans went so well is because their expectations were very low. Obviously, they still have a lot of play. There's obviously, the last 2 years, I still felt that the Swans are a final side, and they did produce that. But yeah, the low expectations allowed the young guns to, and the playing group to not really have much to lose, and they went on to have an excellent season. Obviously, the youth wasn't 100% contribution to them making finals, but it still was a huge part. Players like Ollie Florent, Tom McCartan, Sam Wicks, Justin McInerney, Errol Goulden, Campbell, Chad Warner, many more other players were, just the young guns that really contributed to the side. And now, since they've had a good season, they will have much higher expectations, and now we need to see, will those young guns and pretty much will that whole playing group now play well with those high expectations and make finals footy. I still feel like, the Swans, I feel they are confident on making finals, but you just have to make sure that, with those high expectations, will they tick all the boxes and play good football. So that's just something to keep in mind. I think a New Year's resolution for the Swans definitely is for those young guns to just keep on getting better, because youngsters, they can play good one season then kind of drop off with form. It's all a possibility, but I feel like the Swans can definitely do it. So for the Swans, the young guns, hopefully they progressively get better. Now for the West Coast Eagles, and I feel like this is a very important New Year's resolution if they do want to see finals footy. I don't know if they can, you never know, but I reckon they really need to develop a tougher play style. The West Coast Eagles just had a lot of poor losses last year, and I still remember watching the analysis videos and pundits saying they are just not a strong, a tough enough side, and that is something that head coach Adam Simpson really needs to address to the playing group and get those things done in the off season. They really need to develop a kind of, just a play style of who wants it more, because when just watching them, they just were always second to the footy in some games, especially against the Swans, for example. They were just piss poor and just very lethargic, and for them, they really need to be a first to the ball side. A lot of, they really need to build on their pressure too. It's just, if they want to make finals footy, I think the first thing they've got to do is develop a tougher play style. And finally, the Western Bulldogs, for their New Year's resolution, I've just got one word: revenge. They really need to find revenge next year. Losing a grand final like that is definitely very frustrating for the playing group and fans. I felt like they are much better than that after that second half of the grand final. They, again, have one of the best playing groups in the AFL. Midfield, forward, absolutely elite. Backline, it's good, but it's not great. I feel like it is covered up nicely by their excellent midfield. But for them, they have just got to show a lot more revenge. They just got to seek that. I think they are a top 4 side, and they should be capable of making that. But I don't want to say necessarily just to win a grand final. I mean, that's very, very difficult, and obviously very difficult for any team, New Year's resolution. But it's possible. But revenge is something they have got to seek next year, and that is my New Year's resolution for them. So everybody, there was every AFL team's New Year's resolution. Hopefully you did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and also feel free to comment below what you thought about my New Year's resolutions for each team. Are they spot on? Would you have put something else? Of course, there's multiple seasonal goals for each AFL club, but I just wanted to do what I feel is the most important. So thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. Also, AFL season, I think, is like around 2 months away, so getting keen. So thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you later. See you later, fellas.